Great, let's start. I have to confess I have a bit of deja vu. The last time when I was being in the company of two professors was, quite a few years ago at university. But the good part, today I am going to ask the questions, not you guys. So it's really a privilege for me to moderate this panel because AI is such a hot topic, especially in the IT world nowadays. And thank you, Aline, for setting the stage. I have to say, I was like processing your speech. I realized, oh my God, I need to change all the questions because she said everything. But we will manage, we will rock this. To start, I would like to ask you, Moni, because you have been for quite a while in the AI technical world, really, looking at neural networks and so on. Do you believe we are now in a crucial point when it comes to AI?
Thank you for your question. I'm not to use the microphones. I don't think we are at the moment, at a crucial moment in the AI. As you heard today, AI is not new. So AI has been evolving over the past 70 years. And we have seen several applications such as recommendation engines or autonomous cars, which are examples of AIs. And I think in 2018, Google introduced the BERT model. That was the first large language model. And behind each Google search, we have AI. Okay. And let's see if we, what has changed? I think it's changed that AI is now visible due to ChatGPT. Everybody started to speak about AI. And if we want to see what was a critical or a crucial moment in the AI, I think it was in 2020 when OpenAI introduced GPT-3 because researchers were amazed that GPT-3 could answer questions for which has been not trained for. So that was the crucial moment, but the world didn't notice because it was not visible, only to researchers.
Thank you. Dragos, I turn to you now. For the last several years, before ChatGPT was released, you have been working on adopting and integrating AI-based models into big organizations, well, in this case, E.ON, correct? Can you give us some insights about the timeline of such a project when it comes to integrating this in a big organization?
Yeah, thank you. We started to implement the first virtual assistants back in 2016. At the beginning, it was a real challenge for everybody because we had to learn by trying and by doing ourselves. There was not very much, let's say, experience and expertise in the market. So we started from scratch. We had several iterations until we succeeded in building a model that actually worked for the clients. And it was the basic of what we call today voice bots and chat bots within E.ON and email bots as well. It was, let's say, the beginning of the AI transition within E.ON towards our internal and external clients. Internal clients meaning my colleagues that are, facing daily with the clients, and our actual clients that are using self-service-based interactions with our virtual assistants. It took probably to have the first one up and running between 3 to 6 months. And I say 3 to 6 months because, of course, the first models that we have built on were not reliable. But at the end of the journey, it started to, give results. But it's an endless journey. what we have built in 2016 is not applicable anymore today. And we'll
Just to
talk later
comment
about
shortly
that.
on that, I have an acquaintance who works in a company where they heavily deal with this stuff. And he said, like, you know, you can look now at the architecture of LLMs and others, and in 6 months, you can be sure that it's going to be outdated. So it's changing really, really fast.
Yeah, that's totally right. I mean, during the last months, we restarted to build everything that we had implemented before using GPT models. And it's like changing every 2 months something. The new models are so fast released in the market that we need to keep up the pace with what our partners are providing in terms of technology and updates and new models. Now talking about GPT-4T and 4Vision, and in probably 1 month about Sora that will be implemented within our company. So, yeah.
Thank you. Cezar, the second professor on stage. I am really curious if you guys at the University of Literature, right, and Science, because that's a bit more, you know, away from the technology area. Have you integrated, worked with AI-based tools, models, and how is, can you give us some examples of how you integrate this in the university?
Yes, of course. You might be surprised by the level of interest and adoption regarding our students, because let me share some experiences with you. Last year, we were participating at an international conference and competition on creativity, on the concept. It was organized by L'Oréal. And we had to provide a video, 1-minute video, presenting our idea. And at the end, we needed a voiceover. And we realized that none of us didn't match with a properly voiceover. So we have used Voicer, and it worked, an AI solution. We qualified in final and won the most original presentation. So it works. Then the second, there are so many examples, but I'll try to decide only on 2 or 3 of them. So the second one, right now we are working with my students on a solution, a super cool idea, a metaverse solution for pre-admission. For students who want to apply at our university, how about getting them in a metaverse where they apply anonymous and they are assisted by AI? AI that can tell you if you do a mistake or how can you improve your presence. So, and the third one is more recently, I have a course on copywriting. What do we do? We write titles for advertising, journalism, and I've launched a let's say, challenge for my students. It's a test. It's called battle, you know, like hip-hop battle. Battle, humans versus AI. And the battle looks like this. Before starting the exercise and starting working on the project, I used to give them a brief of the project. And I've told them, okay, open the devices, your phones, write the brief in ChatGPT, and then start beating ChatGPT with your own titles. And it works, because emotion. I have many other advices. I need a whiteboard maybe, but I will invite you at my courses, classes with great pleasure. So these are a few examples.
Thank you, thank you. And Nico, you are an engineer and solution architect, so very technical in this area. How has AI changed or impacted your professional life and daily work in the last years? And how can a software engineer keep pace with the AI evolution? Because, like Dragos said, things are changing so fast, like a couple of months sometimes.
Hello, everybody. First, yes, AI is involved now in software development, for example. Software developers start to use AI. I mean, just have, if you are in Microsoft Technologies, for example, you just have it into an IDE. IDE is integrated development environment, means Visual Studio, for example, or Visual Code, okay? There you can have an extension, Artificial Intelligence Studio is the name. You can implement it from, if you want, third party like GPT, ChatGPT, or you can use it by default. But it's good also the third party. Okay, so yes, AI is implemented already, is working. It's a part of software development. It's also a part of software architectures, for example. AI can help you as a software architect or IT architect or network engineer to create, to generate. Also to test if you are okay with all what you did there. You know, you did something, you did a diagram, for example, and you can put AI to check if your diagram is quite correct or not. But depends by the models, in my opinion. It's not quite necessary to go very far with that. Yes, so AI is very important right now to be implemented in software development, in software architecture, in testing, whatever you want. Basically, in all software development life cycle, for example, I mean SDLC. Or also, if you are not in software development, if you are, for example, a network engineer, or if you are involved as a simple, I don't know, IT professional, you can have an assistant from there. So yes, it's quite okay for now.
Thank you. Eline, you presented us a lot of, was really mind-blowing, your presentations, also the good and not so positive aspects of AI. But as AI speaker, I believe you're at the forefront of the AI topic, right? And from your experience, what are the most common misconceptions of the general public towards AI, and how do you address them?
It's magic.
Yeah, that's one. Yes.
That's the first one. Okay, there's another one I didn't mention, but I find it really interesting, and that is this belief that if we have an AI that generates content, we can train the next AI on that content, and then we can train the next AI on that content. Yeah, you're shaking your head already. You're telling them, the audience, the answer here. So the media and a lot of leaders seem to think that as long as we can just train these algorithms on each other, we don't need humans anymore. But they didn't pay attention in statistics class. Because if you did, you would know that if you do that, if you have, sorry, I need two hands. If you have a distribution, and then you train the model on that distribution, your tail will disappear and it will become narrower and narrower and narrower, and eventually you will just have a very thin slice of average bullshit. Right? So it won't work, which means that the value of data, a few years ago, I remember The Economist had a headline, it said, "Data is the new oil." It's not quite true anymore, right? Because we're filling up the internet with garbage. So we should change that to authentic data is the new oil, right? So authentic data, data created by humans or data created by the sensors or the machinery is really important.
But how can we assure authentic data in the future created by humans when, let's be honest, nowadays even
That's why we have all these bright people here to solve that conundrum. But that's not easily solved. Right, because we have to somehow tag or put a watermark on those data created by algorithms. And to do that consistently, we need some kind of standard that is also enforced on the providers of the generative AI models. And that's not done overnight. But we have to kind of solve that because we are filling up the internet with garbage. And at some point, the internet is going to be pretty useless because of all that garbage. So we need to solve it. So anybody here who can solve that will probably win some big prizes.
Thank you. Dragos, back to you again. For a business, big corporation, let's say, or medium to big, where do you see the biggest impact, positive impact AI can have? Is it in the improving internal processes or tools, or it's maybe towards, improving customer relationship when it comes to, answering fast and correct, reliable data? Where do you think it can help the most?
Well, in our particular case, being a company that is serving 3.5 million clients only in Romania, the first approach that we thought about is to serve our clients. And by that, as I mentioned previously, internal client and external client. So, of course, we saw the first opportunity in using generative AI to give accurate, correct information to our front office agents and back office agents. And that's what we started with. Along the way, we figure out that all this type of information can be also used by our final clients. So we switched the paradigm in order to serve our clients to get better information, faster, accurate, more accurate, and as I mentioned, self-service type of information. That means that they don't have to wait for an, let's say, face-to-face or telephony interaction with our agents. That was at the beginning, using the models that we had 10 months ago. Now, with the new models that are coming overnight, a lot of new ideas are on the table, and we are now starting to look into the internal processes, into the business areas that we can, integrate GPT-4T, 4V, and so on. We are looking into the HR part of the business, the legal part, the regulatory part of the business, and so on. There are a lot of opportunities where we want to integrate and use the best of GPT models in order to simplify the processes and to get faster and more accurate information from this type of source.
Thank you. And to a follow-up question, because it's really interesting what you mentioned. So for an organization who just starts or is thinking to start, what is the expertise do you think they need to have or should acquire? And what are the questions they need to ask in the beginning? Okay, we want to use AI or adopt AI in our organization. How do we start? What do we need?
I would say for a startup, the first idea that they need to have in mind is where to use GPT models.
But it hurts the most, probably.
The most important question is, what should I use? Where should I use? What should I benefit of this? And then try to understand what is the best model to use. In terms of large language models, there are many in the market, so doesn't probably at some point it doesn't make a difference, but it depends.
Okay, thank you. Moni, back to you. If I would be now back a student like I felt for the first 30 seconds when I stepped on the stage, and I want to dive deeper into the AI topic, where do I start? Shall I understand how LLMs work? Shall I look into the architecture of this big data machines, mechanism, systems, or do I need to look at the integration of in a company, or how do I start and what would really help me advance in this area?
Okay, let's suppose that you are a computer science student and
at your class.
Yes, and you want to dive deeper because you are curious. This is very important to be curious. And if you want to develop intelligent application, I think you should start with mathematics. Probabilities and statistics. A solid foundation of probabilities and statistics is a must in this domain. Then, machine learning. At least basic concepts of machine learning, deep learning, and you should understand these new models behind large language models, the transformer architecture. And you should know how to train, how these large language models are trained. So we have a pre-training stage You should understand what does it mean unsupervised learning. After that, we have the fine-tuning. You want to fine-tune a model, for example, only for a specific task. How you do this fine-tuning? What kind of data do you need? What is the correlation between the training data and the performance of the model? You should be able to compare models. Which is better and why is better? Should I change the training data? Should I repeat the fine-tuning? Because you can't repeat the pre-training because you don't have the necessary money. You can take a pre-trained model and play with the model, fine-tune the model. After that, after artificial intelligence, from a programming perspective, you need, I think, an advanced Python knowledge, because nowadays, if you want a proof of concept, to develop a proof of concept, it's easiest to program in Python. And of course, it's good to have deep learning, to know a deep learning framework such as TensorFlow, but I think PyTorch is better. So these are my recommendations for you, but the most important thing is to be curious, to always work on hobby projects and experiment. That's all.
Good, thank you. So I would be very busy if I would be right now back in my 20s. But Elin, what if I would be a bit older than I am, let's say around 50. And like you mentioned in your presentation, a lot of people believe that jobs are going to take a hit from AI in the coming years. I'm 50. What shall I do to prepare and still be relevant in my job for the next 10 years or 15 years until, I would retire? What advice would you have for this age group workers?
Yeah, that would be me. Right. Okay, so I think, over the last decade or so, we have seen a lot of businesses and nations provide lifelong learning, it's called, through universities and micro-learning and different programs. But I think ahead of us, we need to change the way we think about learning stuff. And even if you are around 50, I think that one should take the challenge of digging deeper into new topics. And then people can say, yeah, but I don't have the time. Well, then you make a choice. There's something called polymathy, which is the knowledge, deep knowledge of several domains. Not just knowing one topic and then a little bit of a few others, but actually knowing several topics rather well. And I think moving forward, that will be a necessity. Maybe not for everybody, but I think more people, I would say in advanced business and science positions, will find the need to do that. Simply because in the space of AI, we can apply these tools for so many things. But where we need humans is to connect the dots across the conventional silos of knowledge. And if you're going to be able to contribute to that, you will have to have knowledge across those conventional silos. So that's why I decided to start studying law. Right? Anyone can do that. Or maths.
You're right now a student.
You can do computer science. Yeah? Yeah.
Great.
So actually, the answer is, sorry, there's no silver bullet. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be demanding, but it's up to you to choose. Do you want to do it, or you just want to lean back and let the world pass you?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. Nico, now when we talk again about software engineers and individuals working in the IT area, what do you think are the main skills to keep if we have them and or sharpen them, or acquire new skills which would help software engineer on the long term to really still be on top of things and benefit from AI?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. So to be a software engineer in general, you need a lot of skills, okay? Till in the moment when you start to implement AI in your job, you need to be more than just software engineer. You need to start to be a little bit with machine learning, a little bit to know modeling part, or at least to use, or at least to know about. Why? Because in time, probably, people start already not to code like I did when I was young. You know, when I was young, C++ and coding, line structure, and that's it. Now, no, nobody do that. When I ask some young people, young guys, I asked them, I said, please tell me show me your code. And he said, sorry, I didn't generate no code. And I said, okay, so, but you have some source code. And he said, yes, but has been generated. In that moment, you need to know more than just to be a software engineer. I mean, more than just to implement some code, more than just to know some design patterns, or probably will be some dedicated design patterns implemented. If now you have facade, for example, a design pattern, or I don't know, MVC or another one, or, and in that moment probably will be some other design patterns dedicated for AI in software development. So we'll go in this path, okay? Also, software developers need to know it's cloud. By the way, in general, if you check, the infrastructure is in cloud. Nothing is now on-premise, or small parts are in-premise, but definitely not for giants like AI, artificial intelligence. So in this case, you need to use something from cloud. If you don't know cloud, how you use it? So you need to know like this, general parts for software development as a software engineer. After that, some design patterns dedicated for software development. But in time, you need to go a little bit with modeling to know what is on what model, or at least to document, or to make a document, or to discuss at least with someone who is involved into a machine learning. Why? Because probably your company, big company like Delgaz or Ion or other companies, we are big enterprises, we have departments, okay? So departments means probably you are in department of software development, but probably you need to discuss with someone else in AI department. How you will discuss if you don't know what to discuss with the guy? So that's the future. It's not just to write code, it's how to use AI to write code for you. Also, what I want, just 10 seconds, sorry. What I want to say is, be careful how you use artificial intelligence in code, because in general security in code is very important, okay? Not just best practices. Also security in programming, security in coding is very important. So if you use an artificial intelligence, you need to know exactly what the artificial intelligence wants for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting. Cezar, at least in Romania, there is this idea, probably a misconception, that the academia world or university world is not keeping track with what's happening in real life and in, once you get to work in a job. I tend to agree, but I don't want to make an opinion here.
Maybe we are the exception.
Sorry?
Maybe we'll be the exception.
Yeah. What do you think, or how do you think universities should change or adapt their agenda to prepare students for a world where AI is going to be very present in a lot of aspects of our life? Like Alin said, it is already all around us, and probably knowing technology will evolve even faster and more in the coming years.
Okay, good question. So first thing, I think we should integrate AI in our curriculum. And I want to say that we already do.
You do?
Yes, we already do. For example, in June, we are starting an MBA, Leading Through AI. Yes. Starting from autumn, we are having a new program, a sort of masterclass, Marketing Through AI. We are organizing constantly events. One of the organizers, Christina, hello, is part of one of our projects, and we have organized 3 weeks ago a conference, and we generate constantly content about the future of jobs and which are the skills that can transform you in a powerful candidate, yes, of course. Then I think universities should invest in infrastructure, of course, in laboratories, softs regarding AI. Then we can talk about multidisciplinarity. And I have a very nice story to share with you. The son of one of my best friends is studying in Spain enology, yes, the science of wine. And the first semester, he had a course, in the first semester, a course about AI. And he asked the professor, okay, I'm here to study the science of wine. And the response was part of, you know, that old movie, Karate Kid, with the famous Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. And he said, son, you will understand later. And I think this is the key message and my advice regarding AI. Start learning about AI because you will understand later. But by later, I mean earlier than you expect. 1 or 2 years. So yes, these are some of the key elements.
So start early, and already universities are having classes on that.
Yes.
But then the next challenge I see, Margie, back to you with a question. To learn and have a class, you also need to have the right teacher with the right knowledge to teach AI in different fields, right? So how do you think professors shall change, again, adapt their teaching style, their teaching programs to really fit this need in universities?
Okay. I think that the role of educator hasn't changed because we have to educate students, we have to open up their mind, and we have to prepare them for the future. So that is our role. What have changed that everybody should understand what is behind AI. So how an AI is working. You don't have to understand deep if you are not in computer science. You have to understand, you have to build an intuition, what is behind, what to expect. Because if you know how it is trained, you will know what to expect. Whether you must be critical. Yes, you must be critical, because AI is not a magic, and AI is a generator machine. AI learned patterns during the pre-training, structures and patterns of languages. After that, you can fine-tune for anything, but that's it. So, as educator, we should talk with students about AI. What are the advantages? What are the shortcomings? Let's talk about computer science student. So, I think in computer science, it's very important to learn problem solving. And if you are in the first year and you want to learn programming, and you use code generators, you won't learn programming. So in the first year, yes, you should use AI, but not as a code generator. You should solve yourself the problem, and if you have bugs, ask an AI, correct my bugs. If you don't understand something, ask an AI to explain you, because AI is very good at this stuff. If you are in your final year and you have to develop larger projects, diploma projects, you won't have the time to master all the technologies involved. So AI will help you a lot. I would recommend students to use AI in their final project. So it's important to know you have a constant help near you. Use it wisely.
That's a good advice. And Niku, when it comes back again to software engineers, you're my man today. How do you think companies shall motivate the employees to use AI? While in the same time, you know, balancing a bit the risk of security and putting the code out there, right? I mean, what's the right balance and how you make people to use it, but use it mindfully and safe?
So, some companies start to use AI, and they didn't check too much security. So you can see over the internet, just check some news, and you will see that. And they didn't have a very good results, to say like that. Some companies didn't want to start with AI. Big fear, you know, great fear. Oh, I don't want, something can be with my data, or something can be with, I don't know, you know, with algorithms, or how to implement it, or stuff like that. So it's not good to be in none of these ways. It's in the middle, balanced, it's perfect. Why? Start to use AI, but start to use AI in small steps, like in philosophy. If someone with philosophy, in philosophy it's a word, small steps. Go every step and check what you did. After that, go again. Not just once, and check. It's like in mathematics, you know, you have something to calculate, you have a result, check the result. Don't let it, oh, it's okay. Also, how to work with the people, because it's not just to use technology. Technology is one way, very technical. To use people, it's not a good word. To have people, you know, who work in this manner, it's another way for management, because will be both problems in other case. Can be a problem in technical part, in technology, or if the technology or the procedures are not implemented very well, you can have a management problem. I saw, over the years, I saw companies who had technology but didn't have management. So how to implement something, you have it, you have the toys, you know, we love these toys, and how to use it. We didn't have someone to put all together like in puzzle, you know, like into a simple puzzle. So step by step with confirmation, not just one confirmation, and also someone to have all your steps together to know all, from start to stop. And in that moment, you will have a fluent and also as much as possible correct procedure.
Thank you. Cesar, you are a doctor in philosophy, right? Am I correct?
History, philosophy, yes.
That's like very fancy title. So you're looking at the human nature and so on. What do you think are the skills humans shall prioritize retaining rather than delegating to AI? I'm thinking now, you know, like 5-10 years plus in the future.
Whew. Tough question. So maybe I think we should go back to the human essence. And let's start talking about, I don't know, awareness, self-conscious, emotion, adaptability, and I would say curiosity. And I have another story, a funny one, to share with you. My father was so interested about ChatGPT, and he was asking me constantly, please explain me, what is ChatGPT? And I've told him, I will visit you one day and I will explain you. And 3 weeks ago in the afternoon, I visited my parents and I've told my father, let's go in your room to the laptop and let me explain you. How does it work? And I've explained him all the features, capabilities, and then I left. And the second day, I've called him in the morning, hello Dad, how are you? Oh boy, what have you done to me? I've stayed till the morning to play with the ChatGPT. So the idea is that you need to keep your, let's say, curiosity and adaptability. So if my father can, you can all too. So yes.
Okay, thank you. Dragos, we talked with Nico a bit about security when it comes to AI, and I think security and reliability are huge topics in large-scale operations, regardless of the company and organization. So how do you think we can use AI and still maintain the standards required for security? Do we need to pay the big money to big companies to assure us security?
After Helen's speech earlier today, I got a little bit scared. But of course, I have my cybersecurity officer with me today, so if you want details about cybersecurity and how we manage this within our company, he can explain probably for 2 days. I'm very much counting on him and his talents to do that. What I can say is that for our case, for our internal usage of AI and all the application platforms that are coming together with Azure AI, it's closed environment, so we are not exposing any data, we are not giving access to anybody from outside to our data. And from this point of view, I think we are at least 99% secure. There can be security breaches everywhere. There are tools, there are companies that are doing this for us. I would like people to understand that there are risks, associated risks with using models that are, placed in the market by different players. We choose to go with Microsoft and OpenAI because all the environment within E.ON is based on Azure, and hopefully we are okay. But for the rest of the companies, I would leave it to Ellen to explain how it works, because she knows best. There are a lot of risks associated with this, yes.
Okay. Elena, I see you are, having fun. But to stay on the security topic and safety,
100% fun.
To stay on the security topics, but now looking more at us as individuals. You mentioned in your presentation about fake news and the risk of misinformation and so on, especially in the context of half the population of the globe having elections this year. I think by now Gen AI, can produce images, video, audio, text, and so on, which is very difficult to label as fake, especially when we talk about 15-second bits of data on social media. So there is a big vulnerability, I believe. And what do you think we need skills, or what do we need to be aware of? First, to be able to understand what is real and what not, and in the end to protect ourselves for misinformation and just being influenced maybe on the fake side of things.
Yeah, well, in cybersecurity, the weakest link is us. And we have just become an even weaker link. So from a human side, we need to sharpen our abilities when it comes to being critical, asking questions 2 or 3 times, using 2, 3, 4, 5-factor identification, and just taking the risk serious. There are no silver bullets here either, and it's not one thing that's going to solve the problem. It's a combination of many things. We just need to remember that we as humans are always the weakest link in cybersecurity. And then, if you're worried about your jobs, you can start working in cybersecurity, because there will be a huge need for resources in cybersecurity because of the development of these technologies, like you just pointed out.
Thanks. Before we move on, I just want to make a short break and ask if maybe people from the audience would like to ask questions. I'm sure you may have a lot, or not. There is one. But I think the girls are not prepared, because I love to be spontaneous, and they are not prepared with the microphones. You need one from me, huh? Okay. Thank you, Ovidiu.
Hello. Are large language models a sufficiently good foundations for artificial general intelligence, or it's going to be a completely different path?
Are we all going to simultaneously do this?
I have a very short answer. So I think artificial general intelligence doesn't exist now.
Period.
In the future, maybe, but now, not.
Oh, and just to add to that, Sam Altman, he was in Davos and he pointed out that to get anywhere near artificial general intelligence, we have to invent some new energy resources or just invest in his nuclear power company. And Microsoft is investigating nuclear power. So fundamentally, to get anywhere near anything that could potentially look like artificial general intelligence, we need a completely new way of working with large language models. The transformer models won't work, and we need enormous amount of electricity to do that. So it's not going to happen anywhere soon.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, please. Yes.
Test. This is a question for the entire panel. I would like to see a discussion between all of you if you can. Do you see a trend in businesses, in projects, that they're starting to be closed source? APIs are starting to be closed source, especially because of AI. People are afraid that because of the data scraping, the data training, everyone is trying to build models, scraping social medias, and projects are afraid now to be open source. Do you see a revolution happening, like everything is not copyrighted anymore? Or do you see the reverse, or maybe first everyone is closed source, everyone is greedy, I'm not giving my data away, and then a revolution happening?
Who wants to start?
Thank you. Okay, so first, artificial intelligence is not a revolution, it's a technology. Second, to have a revolution, you need more than just an artificial intelligence. You need to have intelligent people more than artificial intelligence to improve everything more and more. So don't worry, you can remain with copyleft and copyright in the future. APIs will remain for the cloud, for example, but exist also something else like Azure Functions, for example, or in other clouds, you know, like Lambda in other clouds or stuff like that. So don't worry. Artificial intelligence can be involved in this process with some, how to say, with some variables. Because if you check all the time, artificial intelligence, if you're going back, for example, you have a neural network, okay, neural calculus, neural network, but everything is in black box, okay? There, data, you have entry data to input, as an input, you don't know what is inside, and you will have a result. That need to be afraid about, not about APIs and their revolution. Thank you.
So I would like to add a different perspective on top of that. So when we talk about large language models, reality is that there is only X amount of data to train these large language models on out there. Because as we've already pointed out, you cannot train these large language models on data generated by other large language models. That's going to become bullshit, which means that there is only X amount of data. And reality is that many of these large language models are trained on the same corpus of data, of text. And what I believe will happen is that we will have sufficient large language models open source to serve all the purposes we need as foundation models. And then the architecture will develop to build applications and architectural layers on top of that to take care of the, to use plain language, verification that this is actually true, a combination with search. And also, I think we will see architecture moving towards a combination of LLMs, because now we have open source that are American, but we will see the development of LLMs in specific languages. You probably already have something in Romanian and Hungarian, we have in Norwegian, and we will have many of those around the world, but they will not be independently sufficient to serve the entire purpose of a foundation model. Right? So the development, I think, will happen on the architecture and the different layers and tools and methods you can build into the architecture. That's where the innovation really will happen. And then you will just have a bottom of the foundation that is open source LLMs.
I think actually it is already happening. If you look at the business model of OpenAI Foundation, and I was reading in the paper this morning that, can we give names?
Yes. I've already given names, so you can go ahead. So it's just not me.
Mr. X, yeah, from
Elon
Tesla.
Musk. Altman.
No, the other one.
The other one, Musk.
Musk has sued OpenAI because he considers that they didn't follow the business model that they introduced when they founded the foundation 10 years ago or so. It is already happening. OpenAI
Right,
is
I
not
saw
offering...
also, I think it was a few days ago in the news.
Yeah.
That's right.
Probably I didn't have time to read because I was preparing for today. So OpenAI is not offering anymore on a business level.
Oh, they became a business.
Yeah.
A big one, I have to say. But funny enough, I saw, and it was surprising for me, that the best ranked competitor of OpenAI, which just got a huge funding from Microsoft recently, it's a company from France called Mistral. Did you hear? What do you think about? They claim that we'll launch soon something even better than GPT-4.
A competitor of Microsoft within Microsoft.
Well,
That's
Microsoft is very
Microsoft,
smart,
yes.
playing on both continents at the moment.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of open source models. Meta, one of the first companies who opened the world, we have Llama from Meta, and we have OLama, and OLama is very easy to install. Everybody can install OLama on his computer. It is recommended to have memory. 32 giga is recommended, but you can play with your own model. And not only foundation models, you have fine-tuned models. And there are a lot of open source models on Hugging Face. So download a model and play with that model. It's free. So not only OpenAI, we have other competitors, and Mistral is downloadable.
If you look at the enterprise level, I'm talking about real applications that are using AI as a application layer and integration model. You cannot play with open source models like Llama or others because they are too low. You need to go with the big ones. Not even Gemini is prepared for that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm agree with him because not because we are in the same group, because into an enterprise, even if it's a business from I don't know an LTD, Serele in Romania, okay, you can't let open source. Open source means you and everybody else to see the source, correct? So in this case, you can't use something who's not checked internally by security. Can be validated by security, okay, fine, what is inside, but what produced, you need to check again. So you need to check also what is, as I say, like a value for you, also what do for you, and also the results of all these three.
All right, let's take one more question and then we continue. Anybody else?
Hi for everyone. The quantum computing will help the implementation of the AI, so will help the AI, the quantum computing. Sorry for. I don't know if you. So when we have quantum computing for large public, will help the AI.
Sorry for. Okay, so qubit, about qubit you want to say, right? Qubit and processing in quantum computing, big, okay. So that's one technology, artificial intelligence is something else. For the moment, because quantum computing have also true, also false in the same time, you can't use AI. Because AI is structural. AI is a technology based on structural mind. Basically, you have an in and you have an out. In quantum computing, you don't have. You have all in the same time.
Anybody, anything else to add on this? No. We have just a few minutes. This stuff is blinking now into my eyes since 2 minutes. So I want to close with a bit of a fun twist. And I have like rapid fire quiz for you. That's a surprise. You could not have prepared for that. I told you I like to be full of surprises. So it's specific question to each of you, and please just answer in a couple of words. It's like a bit of fun. So, Mani, what is the most surprising AI application you have encountered so far?
Application? I like the foundations. So I like the neural networks. I'm not at the level of applications. For me, a transformer, and I like that a transformer can learn representation of any data. So this is fantastic. Any data, just imagine a kind of data, and you have a transformer, and the encoder part learns a representation of your data. Sorry.
Thank you. Very honest. Nicu, most overhyped AI trend?
Oh, God. Okay, so AI, I don't think have a trend because it's not growing, it's evolving. To grow means to go to the next stage in vertical. AI is not going also in vertical, so the next version, and so on, but also growing on horizontal. How big is, how complex is, how many data can take, what kind of data can process and do some generate for you. So in this case, the trend for that is a little bit different, okay, for that.
All right, thank you. Cesar, if you could have any AI-powered superpower, what would that be?
Good question. Superpower for AI. Mm-hmm.
Powered by AI. We don't want to be Superman.
To take care of our customers, maybe, I don't know. The angry one.
Okay. Thank you. Lynn, if AI could solve one global challenge overnight and the decision would be with you, what would you choose?
Remove Putin.
Straight to the point.
Okay, and Dragos, you're the last. If AI could solve any of your daily annoying tasks, what would you choose?
To work instead of me? So I can take a vacation?
Sabbatical then.
Forever.
All right. Good. Thank you. Thank you all for being here today, and I hope you found the discussion interesting. They are all going to be around for a while, so jump on them if you have more questions. Thank you.